I mean, it was quite the achievement to overturn the government and get the guys charged with financial fraud. I mean, you must have had a clear strategy that you got a number of people behind right from the start.
Come and listen to it.
Okay.
To me, and to many other people, this ending sounded like the Third World War had started. And it had, in a way. Only this time, not with firearms and bombs, but with money, greed, and corruption. That very day, the banks were closed. The Icelandic krona, our currency, was cut out of the list currency. People abroad couldn't use their credit cards. What was happening? We got very, very scared. It does not take much for me to understand when I've been cheated, whether it's by politicians or banks, financial world. In my world, 2 and 2 are 4. The people all over in the world today, they are rising up to the system, the financial system. It's not working. It is just making us slaves. And we don't want this. Human rights are the cornerstones of our lives. But strangely enough, we are many times ready to sacrifice those rights to obtain power or money, or in the name of economic growth. Corruption is a part of human nature and a strong trait in our culture. In recent years, we have seen it rise to heights as never before, and it has got out of control. We must, as citizens, keep up a dialogue with our society and protect our freedom from violence and misuse of power. Then I applied for all the necessary permissions from the authorities, because I believe we have a system and I work with the system. I think, like the media in Iceland, we read them, but we don't believe them. Our weapon is Facebook. That's where we criticize everything that is in the traditional media. And we must, by all means, use and protect the internet. Many people called me and said, "What are you going to do? What are we going to do? There's no protest now on Saturdays. What are we going to do?" And I said, "Well, did you get many friends that did you go to cafes afterwards and chat and talk about things?" "Yes, we did." "Okay, keep that going." Just protesting is not about just being angry. You have to get people to talk, be friends, share.
But you also have to know where you're going. You've got to have a solution.
That was exactly what I pointed out in the beginning. I did not ask people, "What do you want?" from the podium. I went around people to here and there. I stopped people on the street and said, do we support it? Do you want it? What do you want? And it took me 3 weeks to make the 3 demands. And then I stepped up to the podium and I asked people, is this what you want? And thousands said yes. And like I said, this was the glue. On every meeting, we said this, and it came true, 100%.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed your talk. I'm just wondering how far, you've mentioned referenda. I don't remember whether you talked about legally binding referenda, but have you thought about the potential of legally binding referenda to, really put the muzzle on these dogs in government so that they really are under the people's control?
If the politicians are going to ignore the referendum, I don't think it matters to them if it's binding or not. They will betray us if they feel like it. This is what we are dealing with today. I don't think it's just an Iceland. So, what to do about it? Fight. Fight now.
Have you thought about getting people to vote online on issues?
Oh yes, we are debating all kinds of possibilities, talking about it, and trying to find a way. Sometimes it takes time, using context,
okay.
But we are working on it.
There are a few sites in New Zealand. One's called Better Democracy, and I've got one called The People's Law, which is fairly young as well.
You have 2 sides. One is Better Democracy, and the other one, The People's Law.
The People's Law.
The Awareness Party supports binding citizens-initiated referendums, so we should be in.
It suggests to me that there needs to be steps to take to say no was not good enough, and the government gets recalled. Say you're out.
This is debated in Iceland, and this is what we are hoping for.
Would you agree that with what you heard in Iceland, it's not just enough to protest to get resignations of key peoples and key positions, but you actually need a legislative framework that ensures genuine transparency?
I agree on that. And like we are debating in Iceland, and we talked about in the Catholic Revolution, and when the 25 people were writing the Constitution, we asked them, what is the main purpose of writing a new Constitution? And they said, to minimize corruption. We are fighting corruption. That's the core of the whole thing. And what we knew about and what we had seen in many years back was the marriage or the closeness of our parliament members and the money people. They became best friends, and they fixed the laws.
So the first part is, what do you think of the Occupy movement, and has it been successful?
And the Occupy movement around is doing a great job. They're really doing it. I do many Skype interviews, and I'm visiting people. The good thing is, and that is strange to the politicians, the people all over in the world today, they are rising up to the system, the financial system. It's not working. It is just making us slaves. And we don't want this.